I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you on the highway to hell. Jared, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm sitting here freezing, but I'm inside, which is a bonus. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, been good. Been good. I've yeah, nothing really major to report this week. It's rare, like we've sort of said in the last episodes. We're now 3 weeks in a row, so so we haven't had a big break between recording, which is rare. So but yeah, not too bad. But how are you, mate?
I just realized tomorrow's your birthday.
It is. It is
Happy
another.
birthday for tomorrow, Jared.
Thank you. Thank you. Another year. I've yeah. I'm pretty happy because it's on a Sunday, so it's pretty good to just sit back and relax and don't have to do anything really. Other than just go watch one of my girls play soccer, but that's always good. Bacon and egg roll and coffee and yell at referee. No. But yeah, no, it's going to be a good day. So hopefully it'll be good weather and yeah, exciting. Birthdays change, right? Like you're just like, I just want no fights. I want
Yeah.
quiet. No, I just want a day where I don't have to actually think, compared to what I used to be. But yeah,
Firmly
yeah. Thanks for
ensconced
that.
in the 40s. Wow, 45.
Yeah, middle, right in the middle there. It's
Yeah.
I think old man now. I think that's probably the probably the term. Whatever way I look at it, it's bloody depressing. Anyway, mate, I did ask you how you were. So how's things going?
Things are pretty good. I've had a really nice week, but I had a bit of conflict actually. I was the bad guy, and
No, what?
yeah, it's not fun being the bad guy
Mm,
because I'm the kind of guy who I really want to treat people right. I really don't like to make mistakes when it comes to other people. I hate hurting people, and yeah, I hurt somebody, and it wasn't
really?
nice. Yeah,
And
yes,
and and like I'm not going to jump. I'll let you talk, but I'm assuming you're going to share what's happened. But like I find that really hard to hear because I don't hear you actually ever or know of you ever doing that. Definitely not on purpose, but yeah, it's quite kind of a weird statement to hear come out of your mouth.
yeah,
So
and I
I'm
have to
actually
be.
keen to hear what's happened.
I've got to be honest. That's the first
Yeah,
step to admitting you've got a problem. That's the honesty.
yeah,
And so it was with my sparring partner, who I actually love. Like he's a great dude.
mm,
I honestly love him. Like he's like a brother, and
mm.
he's just really, really good. He's a really good fighter. So we
Yeah,
were sparring, and I was so locked in because he's just so he's such a pressure fighter. He comes forward. I'm more of a
yeah,
counter attacker. And, I really didn't want to just run a halt for the whole round and just, counterattack. So I really wanted to stand my ground. I ended up hitting harder than what light
um,
sparring calls for. And
mm,
instead of really tempering my power, I was like just seeing a target and just going for it in order
mm,
to execute my game plan. And that's all I
yeah,
had in mind, I think. And I was a bit confused at the time. I was like, wait, was I hitting hard because he was hitting hard? I'm pretty sure that's the case. But he was like, no, you were hitting hard first. I was like,
mm,
oh, and like I kind of did the replay in my head. Obviously there was no video at the time, so I'm just reviewing it over days. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I felt terrible. I felt so
yeah,
bad, and I sent a sincere apology, unreservedly apologized, and he, being the person he is, he just absolutely accepted it because he's a lovely person. But yeah, it really got me thinking about, geez, when you're the bad guy, how hard it is to, I guess, overcome that shame.
yeah. Well, I mean, look, first of all, looking at what you were doing, and I mean, obviously, not everyone does that, but you can bring what you were feeling into every part of life, right? So, you were hyper focused of not being, you almost had your blinkers up of not being a defensive fighter. You wanted to stand your ground. So that hyper focus, all that energy got put into your strikes or into your sort of what you were doing. And that can come off. So if obviously in a fighting and in a sparring sense, that can come off quite physically, hard when you're dealing with something emotionally or dealing with an argument or a disagreement or whatever. If you hyper focus on a point, it can come off quite harsh, right? So it's realizing that first and controlling that, being able to still get your point over or your game plan over without being hyper focused on that. And it's hard, but we all overstep the mark. Like, we've all done it. Some bigger than others. And, it's important. You said you apologized quite a lot, and, it's all about the recovery, I think, after. So you're on the right path, but it is hard. It is hard when you realize that you've overstepped the mark in whatever way you have. Tough one.
I like how you brought that back to, sometimes you can say the wrong thing because you're hyper focused on a point. That's really important too. I've made that mistake many times where I've kind of missed the main point, and what I've heard is something that I find offensive to my values, and I jump on that.
Yep.
Rather than dealing with the actual issue and what's actually happening. It's almost like you're making up a story in your head and running with that because you want to protect some territory, whether it's your values or whatever it is. And then, you completely miss the bigger picture.
And we all have, for lack of a better word, the word triggered now sort of comes to my head, and it's like someone yelling and screaming, but we all have trigger points, right? That, we listen to, and like you said, even we do it on the podcast. Like, I might say something and you will pick up that one thing I've said, or vice versa. I'll pick up that one thing, and it's not actually the point. It's all about conversation, and we all do it. Every one of us do it in everyday sort of interactions. And then you throw in, I'm sort of thinking about interactions when you're tired, and, the interactions with our kids, right? So, it might be a tough day and you're frustrated about something else. And then, your kids are just being kids, and, you turn into a little bit of an angry dad, and you're like, oh, why did I do that for? Because you got focused on that wrong sort of space. So the amount of times I've, said and done something, nothing bad, but said and done something that I regret, and I've got to then apologize to my kids and say, I'm sorry, Dad was a bit upset for that reason. And we talk about why that happened. And I'm not saying this happens all the time, but they're the things that, we all do, in our home life, our professional life, and our friendships.
Shows that you need to be aware of where your mind is at all times. A test I like to say is, like, to find out whether or not it's an actual problem or if it's just my problem, is if I had just one Powerball, how would I feel right now in this situation? If someone cut me off in traffic while I was driving back from the Powerball office, I don't know how it works, by the way. I've got one Powerball.
That office.
But if I just won that, record jackpot, and I was just driving back home and someone cut me off in traffic, would I be like, hey, man, what are you doing? No, I wouldn't. I'd still be on cloud nine. So I like to think, and that's a very extreme case, of course, of mood, to have won, whatever it is. But my point is, there is a mindset that would make something like that so trivial, like getting cut off in traffic so trivial. So I think we need to, sorry, I shouldn't say we. In my opinion, what I like to do is try to find that mindset and try to find that peace rather than go, oh, well, that bothers me. Someone's wronged me. I try to bring it back to me all the time and see what am I in control of and how can I control my mood?
I must say, I was thinking of that, and you put the words well there about how, like you said, the first thing you sort of said was, when I usually fight, I'm a defensive and counteracting fighter. This person is an attacking fighter. But what changed in your mindset to make you go, no, today I'm different. Today I'm going to be that different beast, and that's, you've sort of mentioned it then. It's just finding, okay, why did that occur? At 40, how old are we at? 44, 45 years old. All of a sudden you're just going to go, no, I'm going to fight his attack with my attack, and it's, there would have been something that, again, we use the word triggered in your head to go, no, today I'm going to be different.
Yeah, for me, that the trigger was actually him commenting saying that, he chases me around a lot, and
Yeah,
it reminded me of when I was in my early 20s and I used to train, kind of like an MMA style.
yeah,
I used to get told that I ran a lot, and
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that is a trigger for me because back in
Well,
those days, I couldn't actually see properly. I
yeah,
got corrective eye laser surgery when I was 27.
yeah.
So back then, I was actually fighting kind of blind. I'd wear contact lenses, but then you get bumped in the eye, and then I stopped wearing them when I sparred. So I actually couldn't see properly. So that was my style. I was, just kind of moving around the ring, bouncing back and forth,
Mm,
and then, coming back with a counter attack here and there. So I really wanted to change that. I thought,
yeah.
okay, how can I stand my ground and fight better? Because you can't
Mm,
always run either. Like in a real
no.
situation, there might be a brick wall behind you. There might be people
Yeah.
behind you. Whatever it is, you can't move. So it was important for me to try to change that mindset. So
Mm.
really was just a
Isn't that
deliberate focus.
and funny isn't the right word, but isn't that interesting that that his comment like would have been an off the cuff, comment, and it brought back all that memory, So it shows that things can escalate. Like, I'm not suggesting this escalated into anything major, but things in the outside world, in the real world of what we get around in majority of the day, can really escalate over something so trivial that we don't even mean, you know. Kind of strange, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think what you're really saying there is you got to deal with the stuff from your past.
Well,
And
well,
this is
but not
only a
everyone.
tiny little example. This
Yeah,
is just sparring. Like,
but,
really, who cares? I'm not training for a real fight. This is just
but
friends meeting in a park. But yeah,
yeah,
like, it triggered something that I hadn't dealt with.
but on the other side of things, like he has just said a comment, like just an observation, really, like, oh, you move around the ring, I chase you around, like that. To me, that's. But to you, it meant it had a little bit more to it, right? Because of your past and because of the way that you operated in the past. It's I guess what I'm trying to say, like, it's a bit of a landmine, you don't actually know what you're
Yeah.
saying to people and what. And it's impossible to know, though, like on his part, that's going to affect and have an effect on you, to make you, oh, I'm going to change my style a little bit. You could be walking down the street or walking into into your coffee shop and just say hello to someone, and that just triggers someone because someone said hello and yelled at them. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
Yeah,
this weird
I know.
landmine of is someone going to take offence, and it is hard to navigate at times.
Yeah. Do you think
What's
you're tossing
impossible
a
to navigate.
you think you're tossing a tennis ball at someone, but to them it's a hand grenade. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it does
yeah.
something to them. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like I was offended or anything. Don't get
No,
me
no.
wrong. It wasn't a feeling like that, but it just brought up something in me that made me think deeper than what the comment actually
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
So, yeah, like you said, that happens all the time with so many different things.
It happens for the good too. Like, someone could say something like, "Oh yeah, I do that a little bit," and you make a little change like that. That it happens. It's not an offensive thing. It's not you're taking offense. Oh, that's what I look like. Oh, that's an observation. Oh, maybe I'll do this to just change it around. I think that's what you've done.
And I may have overcorrected. So, uh,
True, true.
and Jared, just to go back to stuff that, that we had to deal with a long time ago, I remember when I was about 16, my brother said to me, you talk about yourself all the time, right? And from that moment, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I just tried to not talk about myself. I'd always redirect the conversation back to other people. So that was a big overcorrection too.
Yeah.
And people are interested in other people. So if someone asks you how you are, it's
Mm.
it's polite to share, I believe. Whereas,
Yeah.
in the past, I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. Anyway, tell me about you.
Yeah.
And I'd
Yeah.
throw it straight back onto them. And I still have that genuine interest in other people, but I think I'm less haunted now by my brother's comment from when I was 16.
True. And that comment, has had a lasting effect on you, and he probably doesn't even remember
Yeah.
it. like
A-
like it's an off comment that he probably said literally just off the cuff, observational. He was annoyed with you at that period because you didn't shut up or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm happy about the comment. I'm one of those people that
Yeah.
I'd really like feedback about anything, even if it's negative.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm trying not to be the bad guy anymore, Jared. Doing my best, day to day.
Well, I'm just going to throw a spanner in the works. I don't think that was you being a bad guy. I think that was just you. I know you felt bad, but I really don't know if, like that's just you adjusting. Like, and that's just you trying something different. Like, I mean, and it's scary, I guess, or you feel a bit awkward when something happens and you weren't comfortable with that style of, fighting or that style of sparring. So when you heard that you did hit first harder and made you feel bad. And, I guess from the outsider looking in, sparring to me is, about two people, fighting, I guess, to a certain degree, controlled fighting. And I'm going to get that wrong, I know. But, like it's all about having people attack you differently and you being able to combat that. So I don't think you're in the wrong too much. I think you're being a bit hard on yourself, but I also understand the bad feeling that you would have got when you would have realized, and you replayed it in your head and you were told that, yeah, you were the one that struck first and yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Jared, you said that sparring is to a certain degree, and that's exactly right. And I went past that degree. That's the whole issue here.
Yeah. Yeah, true, true. But do you think about like if you do something for the first time or something that you're not good at, or something you haven't trained at, you've been a particular style of fighter your whole life, then all of a sudden you step out of your comfort zone, you're not going to be as polished.
Yeah.
So, if someone tells me to go swing a baseball bat and try and hit a ball, I can do that, but I'm definitely not at the skill set that, somebody who does that all the time, right? So I'm going to, the ball's going to fly off at different angles and probably break a window or go through but you're trying something. And I think the unpolished part is, when you're dealing with someone directly, like you can have an effect physically and emotionally. That's where you start to feel bad that you may have hurt those persons either physically or emotionally.
Yeah.
So, again, don't be too hard on yourself, but I also understand that you've gone out there and you've tried something different for the reasons of, probably looking back and for the reasons that were sort of deep and dark in your mind. But I can only sort of say, don't overplay it too much.
Thanks. I just want to share, there was a guy that I used to spar against who was many, many levels above me. And I remember saying to him, I couldn't hit you. And he said to me, well, I couldn't hit you either. And then I remember thinking, yeah, that's because I was running the entire time. That's why you couldn't hit me. So, and look, I do joke, and well, this isn't really a joke, but I say that I can circle and jab for long enough for the cops to come.
Yeah, right.
So I like to think in a survival situation, I can hold you off for long enough.
Yeah.
I can make it out of there. And I guess being able to run around a ring has helped me do that. So maybe it's not the worst approach to combat.
No. Oh, mate, wow.
But let's look at the aftermath of it, Jared. I just want to relate a story that somebody told me. I worked with some youth back in, it was 2016 actually, I remember now, because on the bus drive back, we found out that David Bowie died, and that was in 2016.
Wow.
And I went on this camp with some kids, and this one particular guy was living out of home. He'd had some issues and drug related as well. And something he said, he was quite insightful. He was only 16. And he said, everyone else can forgive you, but you can't forgive yourself. So he was just expressing the difficulty of forgiving oneself for making mistakes in life. Yeah. And I kind of felt that as well in this situation.
Yeah.
That shame, and shame's a really strong word, but it's a really difficult thing to get over, and it really can kill people. It makes it so hard to just get over a hump in life. And, his words came back to me. Obviously, my friend forgave me straight away. Like, it's like, no, it's all good. But the shame I felt was long lasting. And I'm talking days. And I was debriefing with Erica and, letting her know, like, quite often. And, oh yeah, and I was thinking this and that, and I just walk into the kitchen and blurt something out about, how terrible
Yeah,
I felt. But
yeah.
yeah, shame is such a killer.
No, no one's hard like no one's harder on ourselves than ourselves. You know, the person looking back in the mirror, and it because we have those quiet moments to ourselves. You know, so we have all those moments where we can, before we go into sleep, that time that where we're really relaxing, where your mind starts to wander, and you think, oh, was it? And you go through. I think it's just a natural thing. It's almost like a debrief, and when you get stuck on that moment, yeah, you can really really put it out of proportion because and that's you say that your friends or your people around you can forgive you. They forgive you more, like first or whatever the word. I can't think of the words you use, but they they're not as hard on you as you will be as hard on yourself. So it's definitely a thing, and people, I'm not too sure where what advice I can give or anything like that. It's just, I guess, if you recognize it, and then you need a debrief with either like you said that you want to talk to Erica a lot. That helps, right? That helps with that guilt or shame or whatever, however you want to put it, and it really puts things in perspective, because sometimes we put ourselves, where it's out of perspective, and it's out of, we just hyper focus again on
Yeah.
that situation.
Yeah. It's hard to put some things behind us. And like you said, you're trying to fall asleep and you're thinking of all these regrets and things that you could have done
Yeah.
better. And yeah,
Mm.
that doesn't get you anywhere. We just did an episode on that, on regret.
Yeah. Yeah. The old rocking chair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we've got to look at corrective actions when you are the bad guy. I mean, my
Yeah.
first thing was I have to acknowledge it and to
Mm.
myself, and then of course to apologize. But after that, I guess it's up to the other person to accept that apology, and then you can
Yeah.
both move on, which isn't easy either to move on. Like in my case, it wasn't. But yeah, I guess
I
if
think.
there's no permanent injury or permanent
Yeah.
damage to anything, then it's a matter of correcting what you can and then moving on. Like if I'd crashed into your car,
Yeah.
then I've got to apologize. Hopefully you accept that apology. I mean, it might be a really rare car and you can't get that part anymore, and that would really suck. Then I actually can't fix that. There's nothing I can
Yeah.
do there if
Yeah.
I wrote off, an F1 McLaren or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
which you do own.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got 4.
Yeah, exactly. But if it's something fixable, then I guess all you can do is offer to fix that and then apologize again and move on. But I guess it doesn't help to stay in that
No.
mire of shame, does it?
As the words from the movie Frozen come to me and say, "Let it go, mate. Let it go."
Mm, mm,
Honestly, like, it gets to a point where once you apologize, once you do that corrective action, whether the person accepts that apology or not is not up to you.
yeah,
So you can't actually, you don't have an effect. Like the more you find, you see people apologize over and over and over again because they're trying to change that person's perception and trying to get them to accept that apology. But I'm a big believer in, you apologize once and you make it sincere, and then
yeah,
you've got to let it go.
yeah,
Like, it's healthy for both parties, So that example of crashing into my car, yep, apologize. Corrective action is, insurance companies come and do their thing, report it, get it done, pay whatever you need to pay. That's your corrective action. Then honestly, there's no point carrying that baggage around then, other than giving you a bit of a hard time as a joke. But really, like, honestly, there's no point even carrying that around, because that could even hurt you, So
yeah,
really letting go on both sides and going, okay, we're done. Because if you can't let go, then I don't think it's going to work in the long run. It'll be either a slow burn of somebody getting angry at somebody, or it'll just be this, So they're the 3 steps, in my opinion. And it's that whole keep it simple, mate. Like, keep it simple, because it's, the more convoluted it becomes, the more you think about it, the more they think about it, and then it just turns into, something that it shouldn't turn into.
yeah. 100%, Jared. You're absolutely right. Just you got to keep it simple. I like
Yeah.
the apologize once idea, because yeah, it would get annoying too. Like if someone wronged me and all they did like every time I saw them was, hey, by the way, remember that thing I did to you 5 years ago when I stepped on your foot? I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
be like,
yeah.
bro, I didn't even
Thanks.
remember that.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
worry
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big thing that I've used professionally as well. Just apologize once if something goes wrong. If you're, but don't over
Yeah.
sort of do it. But you need to apologize.
Yeah.
Like I go into, sometimes you go into like places these days, like for, I'll grab something for the girls to eat at McDonald's or something, and they get the thing wrong, and you go and you actually stop your car, get back, go into the shop and say, hey, you missed this, and they don't apologize.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
I mean, I'm not gonna throw stuff at them, but there's not even like an acknowledgement of they got it wrong. Like, and I'm like, oh, and that makes me angry.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if they apologized, I'd be like, oh, that's so okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to make sure you apologize and sincerely. I think that's the main thing.
I spoke to someone, one of our friends, who's been wronged by another party, and he said if she just apologized, everything would be okay. And like, there's a
Yeah,
lot happening there, but just
yeah,
one apology would make such a difference.
yeah, yeah. It's apologizing is hard because to me, well, if you actually, some people can apologize without even meaning it, but if you mean it, it's a hard thing to do because it's admitting you're wrong, and it's you throw in, like, you can admit you're wrong to yourself, but then doing it publicly or to the
Yeah,
person, you throw in pride, and there's a whole lot of other stuff
yeah,
in there that's probably going to take another hour to talk about. But yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and I think the longer you leave it, the harder it
yeah,
is
for
to
sure.
happen.
I think saying words out loud just makes everything so real. So
Mm.
to actually admit it to yourself and then speak it to somebody else, to
Yeah.
a witness, yeah,
Mm.
that's real stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And when it's soon after the event, it's raw. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
you sort of try and leave it till it's not. You leave it, if you leave it until it's not, as doesn't hurt as much, then it's kind of too late. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's thin line.
I want to share two examples of apologies gone right. When I started working at this organization back in 2006, I went to a
Mm.
training day and I bumped a guy's door. It was actually at Club Parramatta where we'd like to meet. I think it was Parramatta RSL back then though. Anyway, I opened my car door, bumped this
Yeah.
other guy. I was like, oh no. So I left a note, and that guy happened to be one of the guys that was at my organization training as well. And he rang me
All right.
later saying, oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much for leaving that note. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. You can barely notice it. But he was really appreciative that I'd left
Yes.
that. And then
Yep.
recently, someone who I won't mention their name reversed into someone's ute. And because the tray was so low, the driver didn't see the back of the ute.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it was a not new ute, but it was special to this guy. He was a young apprentice,
Yeah.
and there was some damage. And this guy's mother was so grateful that a note was left.
Yeah.
So this was in the evening, could have driven off like a thief in the night,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
left a note and paid for the whole thing. Even,
Mm-hmm.
found the panel beater to do it for them and just
Yep.
organized everything. So that's a really good example of one, showing respect for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Two, just being courteous and honest. And three,
Yep.
coming up with a really good corrective action that almost makes up for what happened. I mean, of course, there's the inconvenience of losing a vehicle, but you know what?
Yes.
I'd be willing to cop that if someone were being honest with me. If someone had gone out of their way to make up for their mistake, I'd be like, you know what? Let's all be gracious about this. Thank you very much. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's good people out there. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of power in apology, isn't there?
There is a lot of power, and just on that point, but accidents are called accidents for a reason. So none of us want to go and hit. He didn't want to reverse into that ute. So, that apology is sincere, and that help that he's provided, and the note and the paying for it and everything like that is a sincere gesture. So that's part of the apology. So
Yep.
yeah, we all have situations that we don't mean. We all do things that we don't mean, like accidents are one of them. Yeah, car accidents. Of course, we don't mean that. There's lots of things in life that we do that we don't mean, and it's like you said, the corrective action after the apology.
Yep. Jarad, thank you so much for your time this morning. Again,
Mm,
happy birthday for tomorrow. You had some
thank you.
beautiful, wise words, so I think that's your middle-aged wisdom coming through, Jarad. I'm going to learn
Yeah.
to let things go a little better. Hopefully our listeners got something out of this. If you've been wronged or wronged, look, life's full of conflict and the world at the moment needs us to all live and let live. Let's just take it easy. Let's love each other. Let's accept apologies. Let's offer apologies and just
Mm.
share the love. Jarad, thanks so much.
Thank you, mate. I'm happy to finish on that. Very wise. Thank you.